3 weeks. Okay, so let's finish the 10th principle. It's important to mention before we move on to the 11th principle, that the 10th principle discusses this concept of free choice. The 10th principle says that we're supposed to believe that God knows everything that's going to happen. And so the question that usually comes up is, how is it possible that these two things can live at the same time? That on the one hand, you have we have free choice. We're told that we have free choice, that every person has a free choice to choose between good and not good. And then at the same time, we're told that we need to believe, like it says in principle number 10, that Hashem knows everything that's going to be. How is it possible that Hashem could know everything that's going to be, but at the same time, I have a choice? How does that work together? Anyone have any idea? If God knows what we're going to do, where is our choice?
I think they're contradictory.
So how so? How are they not contradictory?
So we have free will, so we can choose what we do, but Hashem is so beyond our understanding that He has the ability to know. We couldn't know what somebody's going to choose, but He can, because He's God. What she said.
Okay, but if it's already known, if it's already all predestined, what we're going to do and how the world is going to end up, and how society and life is going to end up, so then how is it really up to us? God already knows what's going to happen. He's already predestined. He's pre-programmed us. He's designed us to think a certain way and feel a certain way. He's created our nature, because He created our souls. He created our nature because He created our bodies, our minds, our hearts, and their limitations and their personalities and direction. Excuse me. He's also predestined our nurture. He's decided what time period we're to be born in, what physical, emotional, intellectual characteristics we are given, bequeathed. And then He also decides and orchestrates who are our parents, who are our siblings, who are our friends growing up, who are our teachers, who's all of the experiences that we have are 90, 95, 99% even, all predestined and completely out of our control. And as we continue to move through life, everything that happens, as we sit in this city with 8 or 9 million people living in it, we have no control over the way anyone else does things, but yet all of it affects us and has a strong impact on how we feel and think and decide what to do next. So with all of this orchestrating going on, both from within, pre, current, post, and then in the world around us, both close to us as well as the community and the world at large, how can we see that as leaving us an area or space for free choice? And so you're waiting on, yeah.
Well, first of all, Hashem isn't confined by time. We are. So
right, we're talking about our free choice, not His. Yes,
yeah,
this as our experience.
I'm getting somewhere. So it was phrased to me in a way that Hashem sees and feels the world like how you would open up a video clip and you can skip to any time.
Mm-hmm.
So just because He's aware of our decisions it's not because we don't have free will, it's just that He's not limited by time to know what we're going to end up picking.
I understand that, but I'm not talking about how He's able to see things past, present, and future simultaneously. I'm asking, how are you left with free choice if so many of the things that are in your life, forget about God for a second, so many things in other words, don't forget about God, forget about God's perspective.
Okay.
God has predestined 99% of your life before you were born.
Well, if Hashem,
how does that leave you? Where is the space that's left for you for free choice?
Well, if Hashem if the intention is for us to elevate things and do godly work, then why would Hashem have given us all these bad things of the opposite? It's our free choice to do that or not. So if Hashem didn't give us the free choice, then he would have never given us the bad stuff to do to begin with. So the predestining is, I feel like you hear about the concept of like 7 soulmates, you know, you only like hopefully end up marrying one, because in different stages of life, like timelines and stuff, like if you make one choice, then this stuff will happen. If you make another choice, then the other stuff will happen. So it's like that. Did I even make sense? I feel like I was going all over the place, but
No, it does make sense. But okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Isn't it like our free choice, like whether we do tshuva, like to keep Torah and mitzvahs, like we get to choose.
Yeah.
That's like in our hands.
It is in our hands, but he knows what he knows what you're going to choose before you choose it, though. And some people he doesn't really give the opportunity.
Why not?
Because he sets it up in a way that the person is completely unexposed to their faith at all, and he gives them very little opportunity to explore that faith. And also he's designed them in a way that maybe they're not so interested in the whole thing to begin with. So what are you left with? Yeah.
I think of free choice as like any other word, any concept that it's limited, like we human beings are limited. So I think that the way I reconcile it in my head is that we don't, on our caliber as limited human beings, like we have this like, it's like there's a veneer, but so it's like we fool ourselves into thinking that we have free choice, even though like Hashem knows what we're gonna do, but for our caliber, it makes sense that we think that we have, it's within our power to like, I'm out and like no longer partake anything that's related to Torah. So even if we were to do that decision, Hashem would have foreseen it. So I think that we're still able to exercise free choice for how we understand, like what's in the wrong. Sorry, fix myself.
Okay.
I have an idea.
1 second, she's waiting. Yeah.
אוקיי, טוב, זה שכאילו שזה ידוע מראש, זה לא אומר שהקדוש ברוך הוא לא נתן לנו את הכוח לבחור. זה שזה ידוע מראש, זה לא סותר את זה שהוא נתן לנו את הכוח. הוא לא נתן לנו, זה לא באמת בדיוק בחירה, כאילו, אבל זה כוח. הוא נתן לנו, זה שכאילו הוא יודע את זה מראש, זה לא סותר את זה שאין לנו את הכוח הזה. הוא יודע מראש מה נבחר, אבל הוא כן נותן לנו ממש חלל קטן של כוח כן לבחור. אז זה לא סותר את זה שהוא יודע את זה, זה בסדר.
So you're saying, instead of saying that both things exist at the same time, you're saying, let's compromise the amount of free choice that he gives us and the amount of free choice that we have. And in the middle, there's like something small that he's giving us. It's not so much free choice and it's not so much, he doesn't know exactly. You're minimizing it on both sides a little bit. No, I'm saying what you're saying, what comes out of what you're saying.
לא אמרתי את זה. הוא יודע בדיוק מה נבחר, אבל הוא נותן לנו את הכוח. קודם כל, זה לא באמת בחירה.
So you're saying we don't really have, so you're saying he still can do whatever he wants, but we don't really have free choice, not 100%.
זה כן, כי בסופו של דבר בחירה זה בין שני דברים שהם בדיוק אותו דבר. כמו שנגיד הקדוש ברוך הוא בחר בנו, זה בין שני דברים שהם אותו דבר. דבר אחד שהוא יותר גדול, יותר כאילו, יש בו דבר יותר מהשני, אז זה כבר לא באמת בחירה. כי בטוח שאנחנו כאילו, לא בטוח, אבל זה הדבר שאנחנו צריכים לבחור בו. אז יש לנו את הכוח, יש לנו את הערנות הזאת שהקדוש ברוך הוא נתן לנו, אבל זה מאוד מאוד בסופו של דבר קטן, לעומת הכוח של הקדוש ברוך הוא, יש כאילו בחיים שלנו.
I understand what you're saying, but again, are you saying that we do have full free choice or we don't?
שיש לנו כוח, אין לנו לגמרי ממש בחירה חופשית, יש לנו את הכוח, אבל הקדוש ברוך הוא בסופו של דבר כאילו הוא...
So that's what. So that's what I was saying before. That you're saying that it's not that because it's difficult to say that he can do whatever he wants, but we have free choice at the same time. So you have to choose which one is not really there. So you're saying that the free choice is not really there. It's just it's an illusion. Okay, but if that was the truth, so then it would be great. It would be very easy to answer the question, and we can finish this ikar. We can go to the next one. But that's not what it says. It says that we do have free choice. That we do. It says over there. You're telling me it says over there that we don't really have free choice.
זה לא ככה, זה טיפה אחר, אבל שיש לנו כאילו את הכוח, אבל לא את ה... שזה לא בדיוק במילה של בחירה חופשית. יש כוח מסוים, אבל מאוד מוגבל, כאילו לא...
Okay, I'm not going to get into. I'm not going that far deep into it. I'm just saying that if a person has a choice to do something good or bad, yeah. Let me give you an example. Hashem created. You know what we're talking about over here. We're talking maybe too abstract. Hashem created Adam and Chava. Yeah, the first two people that ever lived, right? And he told them not to do one thing. He gave them one thing that they're not allowed to do, was to eat from the tree. Told them, don't eat from the tree of the Eitz Hadas. And within an hour, he told them in 1 hour that they shouldn't eat it, and the next hour they ate from the tree. Right? It's like, it sounds ridiculous, it sounds whatever. So while on the very, very deep level that we know or that we understand free choice to be today, or that the free choice that Hashem had to choose us over another nation, meaning that there's no difference necessarily between us and another nation. He chose two completely equal things, one over the other, completely equal, not because one was better than the other, because he chose freely, even though that maybe that type of choice was not available. Or say it differently, even though that type of free choice wasn't available, and it was obvious that it was a very bad thing and a bad idea to eat from the tree of knowledge that Hashem told them not to do, nevertheless they did it. And so the commentaries all ask, why did Adam and Chava do it? And the answer is that they were designed to do it. There was absolutely no scenario, there was no possible way or outcome of writing that story in which Adam and Chava remained the people that they were, and if something else would have happened, or if something else would have been said, that the outcome would have been different. All outcomes would have been, to every single different way that you would rewrite the story, Adam and Chava would still eat from the tree. The tree was placed there, and they were created for the sole purpose of eating from the tree. I mean, that's their whole story in Chumash. Adam and Chava lived for 930 years. 930 years. You know how long that is? What was 930 years ago? Let's round it up. 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago was 10, 20? Right. It was a long time ago. So imagine if someone that was born back then and is still living today. But the only thing that we really, aside from the midrashim and whatever that we hear all types of stories about what happened to him in the other years of his life, but all we hear about is a few hours. He was created. He was told not to eat from the tree. Chava was created. They were told not to eat from the tree. They ate from the tree. They got kicked out of Gan Eden. They had 2 kids, and after that, and that was it. That was 2 days. And then after that, we don't hear the Chumash stops telling their story because it's irrelevant. Because the whole thing that they were created was in order to be born, to be created, to eat from the tree, to start mankind, to have 2 kids, 3 kids, and that was it. And after that, the rest of their life is like not important. Meaning their whole life, they were designed, that was their moment in history. And so their moment in history was designed that that's the way it should be. And so we who are certainly less than spiritually, physically, on every level, we're less than Adam and Chava, but still we think that we have free choice. Still we think that we can choose not to do this avera or to choose to do this mitzvah, when everything is so designed and so orchestrated, you're coming all the way at the end, and everything's all set up for you to do this, and no, you're supposed to turn around and do the other thing. How is that? How is it even possible? Where's the space for that? How do you say, the story has all been written already. And then the story also after you, till the end of time, has also all been written, and you're a piece of that story. And you've been designed in order to do this. How is it possible that in all of this stuff that you're just a small part of the whole thing? How does, again, like Adam and Chava, they couldn't have not done it in any other way. Yeah.
Well, take a baby, put it on the floor, put, I don't know, like a bright colorful toy on like a meter away from it, in one direction, and the other direction, a meter away, put, I don't know, like a phone, like some like a book, just put like a plain old book. Where would the baby go to? Obviously the toy.
Right.
By doing that, I wasn't forcing the baby to do that. It had free will to do that, but I knew what it was going to do. When you say that's the same for Hashem, but on a much more high, complicated level, because obviously we aren't simple babies, but like.
It's a good example. So where's the choice? Exactly.
He started us in a way, and he put these obstacles in our life, but we ultimately choose which way to go. And sometimes we might even choose to go the other way, but that's just, there was no like.
So where's the choice in that?
And
It's a very good example. So where's the choice? If a baby is designed to be attracted to certain things,
But that's the
so then-
baby's choice. It was designed to have that choice.
how could you call that choice when your whole life you're designed?
What if the baby happens to go to the book?
But you know that's not going to happen. You know it's not going to
What if
happen.
the baby is like, I don't know, like colorblind, can't tell the difference, the books are not interesting.
But then you would know that, because if you made the baby, as if you're God and you designed the baby, you know the baby's psyche, you know that this baby is different. So you designed this baby to go after books, while you designed all other babies to go after toys. And so therefore you know that all these babies are going to go after the toys, and then this baby's going to go after the books, the book. And you know that, not only you know that, you designed it that way. You set it up that way. That's the way you
the baby towards the book. Like you didn't throw the baby at the book, the baby went to the book by itself.
No, worse, you wired the baby's whole psyche in order you programmed the baby only to look at the toy. You designed the whole baby and its whole personality and everything around that. And then you tell him, okay, but now you have free choice. You can choose whichever one you want. You built a DVD player, and it's designed to put DVDs in and to play them. And then you tell the DVD player, I'm going to give you a choice. You could either play DVDs, or you can toast my piece of bread. I'm going to put my bread in the tray, and I'm going to stick it in, and we're going to see if you can toast it.
What if the DVD player breaks and goes on fire, will toast the bread?
No, then it'll burn the bread. But good try. It wasn't designed to do that. It was designed to do this. But then we're telling it, no, you have free choice. You can do whatever you want.
Why are you interrogating us? Tell us the answer.
I'm not looking to tell you an answer. I'm trying to come to figure out to figure out the answer.
Do you
Yeah.
know the answer?
Maybe, I don't know. It's my free choice. What do you think?
I prefer the analogy with the baby because we're not machines, like we're not the TV.
No, I said it was a very good example. It's a very good example, yeah.
I think we have to reframe the conversation because we're not in competition with Hashem. It doesn't matter to us that He knows what we're going to do. So for the maker to know to predict what the creation they made is going to do is not an issue. Like the baby has such a limited amount of consciousness compared to the adult, the parent, that to them, if they see several toys and the adult's like, oh, for sure they're going to pick the red one, it doesn't matter to the baby because the baby's not like, I'm going to try to like trick you so that you think I'm going to take the red instead I'll take the blue. So since they're operating on different levels of consciousness, there's no competition, there's no friction that like, oh, they both know what the outcome of the situation will be. So we might not.
You think the baby's not struggling?
they're not struggling also, but
That's the flaw in the example.
But I think it's not, we don't feel limited. I don't think that we constantly feel limited by our nature because our nature is all that we know, the way Hashem created us.
Right. That's why I'm asking if the nature is all that we know, then how do we have free choice? That's exactly what I'm. Regardless of if you're struggling or not, or how does the struggle change anything? The baby's not struggling, so it goes after its nature, right? That's clear cut.
Everything has to have a nature. Like what would it be
Absolutely.
for us to not have a nature?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. How does free choice play in with a pre-programmed nature? That's exactly my question.
Free choice, recalibrate to that nature.
What does that mean?
Like it's not free choice to choose a different nature. It's within the set of rules we get to choose. The rules are known by the creator because the creator picked out those rules.
But our nature is to choose X, not Y. Just like the baby wants the red toy, so we're designed to want X.
But X and Y are like part of that. If the nature is a bubble, X and Y are just like elements within that nature. They're not outside. So we're not like missing anything. We can't be like, oh, I wish I could choose this thing that I can't choose because I'm a human being created by Hashem.
Okay, so what you're saying is a very good way to segue into the answer, the truth of this whole matter. The question is the two things that I want on the inside of my experience or the inside of my nature, or is one on the inside of my nature, one is outside of my nature? So what I'd like to suggest is that this is where free choice lies. That's number one. And number two, I'm going to go back and I'm going to explain. I'm going to say it just in brief, and then I'll go back and explain. First of all, there's a choice of what you decide that you want to bring in or draw into your circle, into your life. That's number one. And number two, the struggle to decide what and which, and also what you do with that, is real regardless of what happens beyond you in Hashem and God's realm. In other words, what Hashem knows about you doesn't, or even the way he designed you, doesn't change your choice to either include or to exclude certain things from your life. Number one. And number two, it doesn't change or it doesn't affect the struggle that you have to choose to include these things or other things into your life. In other words, the struggle is real regardless. This is the area, this is the space, this is what I was asking about before, but where is the space that's left? It's completely true that the way Hashem created the world and the way Hashem designed each and every one of us, almost every single thing around us is completely predestined and preordained. Even if it's dependent on other people's free will, in the end of the day, Hashem orchestrates things in a certain way that we should be born in a certain place and come in contact with certain people to the point where there's an obvious outcome to all of the things that we are going to do in our lives. So what is the space that's left? The space that's left is our struggle. So going back to the example of the baby, just to give you an example of what this struggle is like. If you tell a baby, well, maybe not a baby, but if you tell a toddler or a young child, don't play with knives, don't play with matches, right? And every box of matches says, keep out of reach of children. Why is it so obvious that we should keep matches away from children? Why does everyone know that? Why is it so obvious that they can write that on the box in such an obvious, as if it's so obvious that no children should ever be touching matches? Why is that such an obvious thing? Right, exactly. They're covering their own liability. But the reality is that when you tell a child that they shouldn't play with a knife, or they shouldn't play with matches. The reason why is because you know that if they do, that they're going to hurt themselves. So you know what the outcome is. Your knowledge, the fact that you're infinitely more knowledgeable or exponent, maybe not infinitely, but exponentially more knowledgeable or smart or aware, that you can see the future enough, you can see the way things play out enough that you know that if a child is going to play with knives or matches, they're going to hurt themselves. But that doesn't diminish, that doesn't change the child at one point or another is in a house with access to matches or knives or whatever other dangerous materials, and they have a struggle to choose if they're going to play with it or not. That struggle, if they want to include this in their lives, if this is something that they want to be involved in, or that they want to involve in their lives, and what they want to do with it, and when and how, and in what way they choose to engage in it, all of that is completely up to them. Does that make sense? You know what's going to happen. Everyone knows what's going to happen, which is why they write it on the box. Because this is what happens to all babies or all children that play with matches. That depends on the child. Right, but we're talking about. So what we're saying is that this is the space that's left in between, and this is where our free choice, and really where everything happens. In other words, all of the other things that are orchestrated around us, the whole world and all the history that has been played out up until this moment, is all in order to give us that little space in time or in history, and to allow us to choose at that moment what to do in that moment. And even though that Hashem already knows what we're going to do, but that struggle in that moment is not helped. We are not helped by God's knowing. Maybe we're helped by God telling us, don't do this and don't do that, just like parents will tell their children, don't play with knives, don't play with matches. But in the same way that Hashem tells us, don't do this and don't do that. But in the moment when we have to choose if we're going to do that or not, the only thing we have is what our parents told us to do or to not do, or what Hashem told us to do or what to not do. But after that, we're on our own. And at that point, moving forward, or in that space, that struggle is not affected or not diminished or not mitigated, not compromised in any way by the fact that Hashem knows what was going to be before, during, and after, in the same way that we know that if a child is playing with knives, it's going to hurt themselves. Does that make sense? Any questions?
I think I just not understanding it fully, but I think it's not satisfying the amplitude of that question, because I don't know, how does free choice, we're saying that like struggle is intrinsic to free choice, and that's how we know we have true
What's intrinsic to free choice?
struggle.
Struggles, which is, yeah.
We have to go through that. Like we know we're dealing with our own free choice if it implies struggle. That's a indicator.
Right.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
No, I'm just wondering, like, just trying to connect.
If it's obvious, then where's the choice? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a struggle, but it goes the other way. If there is a struggle, then it indicates then that you're dealing with a choice.
I guess I would always choices like between mundane things that like there are no stakes involved. So just like a matter of preference and not like a decision.
If it's a preference, then it's less of a choice. That's your programming.
Interesting.
You can choose to change your programming. You can choose to go against your programming, and then there would be a struggle. It doesn't have to always be a struggle. Your free choice, after 2 times, 3 times, 12 times that you've chosen this instead of that, it can start to become second nature. But you still get the credit for the free choice. As you've reprogrammed, you wired yourself in order to choose this over and over again. Or you've made a choice that this is what you do, and it's become second nature, it's become habit, and this is what you're doing. So I'm not saying that you have to struggle constantly in order to activate free choice or for free choice to be real. I'm saying that the other way around, that if you're struggling with a choice, then you're actually dealing with something that you're choosing. If you just do it by rote, then it could be one of two things. It could be either A, that you're just doing what your programming is telling you to do. You're doing what your nature or your nurture has told you to do, what other people have told you to do, or what society has told you to do, or what you think other people expect of you. Or you could be doing what you chose, but you're just doing it again, and because you're doing it for the fifth time, it's no longer that that much of a challenge. In Judaism, we'll tell you that at that point you should try to increase, because if you're already doing it by rote, if you're already doing it and it's coming so easy, so then you should look to intensify or to deepen your experience, because then what happens with that is that it becomes passé, it becomes something that you do by rote. It just becomes perfunctory, it becomes mechanical. But that has nothing to do with free choice. In other words, we're not telling you that your free choice is taken away from you because you're choosing something that's easy. Just for your personal growth, it's a good idea to be constantly growing. Living things constantly grow, and those things that are not growing are by definition dying. But that has nothing to do with free choice. That's just life advice, or Judaism's approach to life advice. But in terms of choice, the choice is there regardless. But certainly, if you're struggling, then you're dealing with choice. Okay. Yeah, this sits well with everyone? Makes sense? Yeah?
I have a question, maybe it's not related to the same choice, but what if you want to do something completely the opposite of the Torah or the mitzvahs in order to increase your level of the soul, like having more experience in godly, to be more connected to godly way.
Yeah, what's the question?
Exactly.
No, what you're saying is true, so what's the question?
Yeah, so how you see things.
How do you see things
Like
to want to increase?
What do you think about what I said? Yeah.
You were saying what I just said before, no? That a person should want to increase in the things and deepen the things that they're doing. Or did I misunderstand?
Okay.
Unless I misunderstood what you said.
I think so, yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
So the opposite of free choice is coercion. If a person tells you that you have to do this and they're taking away from you your free choice, they're not allowing you to choose. They're telling you you have to do this and not that. And I'm not giving you an option to do that. I'm telling you you must do this. So Hashem is not forcing us to do anything. The fact that he knows what we're going to do doesn't take away our free choice, because that's not the opposite of free choice. The opposite of free choice is coercion.
He doesn't push us to do what he wants, so why this punishment?
So that leads us into the 11th principle. So that's exactly the point where we go into number 11. Because if we say that Hashem doesn't force us, and if we say that Hashem gives us the good and the bad, and he tells us you choose, so then comes along principle number 11, and it says that Hashem to believe that Hashem has a system of reward and punishment. So if there's a reward and punishment, so then that should take away from our free choice. Because like we just said, if coercion, which is why I ended off with that, if forcing someone to do something, if telling a person that if you don't do this, you're going to get punished, so then you're being forced, and that takes away your free choice. That's problem number one with the 11th principle. Another problem with the 11th principle is that for the past 10 principles, I've been telling you is that Hashem placed these principles in Torah in order so that we should not be distanced from him, not that we should believe how far we are from him, but to believe that even though that he's infinite, and even though that he's by nature inaccessible to human beings, to the creations, to us, nevertheless, the way that he set up the world, the belief, all of the principles are really to believe that Hashem designed the world in such a way, and he designed us and Torah and mitzvahs and people and the prophets and everything that we talked about was all about how Hashem specifically designed so many pipelines and so many sort of connecting wires where, while in spite of the fact that Hashem is infinite and we're finite and we are people and we are limited and God is not a person and not limited and we are completely opposites, nevertheless, Hashem created not only ways that we can connect with him, but also ways that we can have a relationship with him. And that was the central discussion that we had about tefillah, about prayer, that it's about relationship. But all of the principles are really about that. It's just prayer is more of an open discussion about it, because it's actually a conversation with God. It's communication with God. It's talking to God, which is where relationships begin or grow or deepen and so on. So here we come at the end in principle 11, and we say that you have to believe that the whole world is based on an axiom or on an axis of reward and punishment. That if you do the good things, then Hashem will reward you, and if you do bad things, then Hashem will punish you. So first of all, that makes a problem with free choice. It makes our free choice less. That doesn't mean that it takes away our struggle, but there's more coercion now involved. There's more forcing involved. That's number one. And number two, primarily, why does Hashem why is this a principle? Why does Hashem want us to look at the Torah mitzvahs? Why does Hashem want to look at the relationship that we have with him within a paradigm of reward and punishment? If Hashem wants a relationship with us, then he shouldn't be looking to reward and punish us. Hashem should be looking for ways to deepen a relationship. A relationship doesn't have reward and punishment. If you do something that I want in our friendship, so then I'll reward you with something. But if you don't, I'll punish you. That's not a friendship. I don't know what you call that. That's I don't know, what is that? Slavery? Yeah, or servitude or something like that. It's certainly not Jewish, but it's not even. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with everything we've been saying up until now, that Hashem is looking for a relationship with the Jewish people, that Hashem married the Jewish people, that he's looking for connection with the Jewish people, that the people should connect with him, that he should connect with them through Torah, through mitzvahs, through communication, through davening, through the prophets, through belief, through God's constant awareness of us and involvement with us, and divine providence in every single minuscule detail and so on. What does he need to be involved in all of those things? There's a schar and einish, there's a reward and punishment. So you live for 120 years here in this world, and then you come upstairs, and then when you come to heaven, there's a heavenly tribunal, and they take all of your books, and they have, okay, fine, this is the pile of things that you did right, and this is the list of things that you did wrong, and we look and we compare, and so you get punished for things you did wrong, and you did like. Why do we need the other 10 principles? What's the purpose of the whole thing? Yeah, makes sense.
Sounds like I can have a point to you, and I see what you're honest about.
Yeah. And today not? Yeah, we just don't see it.
Honest.
A little bit. The main reward and the main punishment comes later. The main reward for sure comes later. But sometimes the punishment comes in this world. Some of the punishment for sure comes in this world. Okay. You wouldn't, what is that? So maybe I missed what you said. You're saying if you wouldn't have been punished, then you wouldn't be here?
כן, כאילו הייתי
You're saying being here is a punishment?
לא, זה מה שאני אומרת, שאם אני הייתי נענשת על מה שאני עשיתי כאילו בעולם הזה, אז לא הייתי כאילו, היה כנראה קורה משהו לא טוב לי, כאילו, היה משהו ממש רע קורה לי.
So why are you connecting that with you being here? Why is that?
להיות בזה משהו טוב, כאילו התכוונתי, לא? כאילו כנראה שלא הייתי פה, הייתי כאילו, זה מה שאמרת.
I think so, but I don't understand why you think that either it's all or nothing. That if you did something wrong, so then Hashem writes you off, and then you can't. He's not going to do anything good for you ever again. It could be not. It could be not. It could be that you have you didn't. It could be you didn't do so many bad things as you think, or it could be that there's more things waiting for you in the future. Or maybe not, or maybe you're given the opportunity to do tshuva and to wipe away all the things that you did before. Hashem is being patient and giving you more and more time to do tshuva, to fix the things that happened in your past, and he's waiting to see what's going to happen. Hashem is very patient. That's number one. Number two, also we should know. No, right, but so he's waiting for that to happen. Also, you should know that it's Hashem doesn't punish people for things that you do before you're 20 years old. You know about this? That there is no punishment from Shemayim, from Hashem, from above, for things that you did before the age of 20. That doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you in a negative way. That just means that Hashem doesn't punish. Hashem waits. Yeah, they don't tell that to kids because then they'll take advantage.
I don't think they have.
That's number one. Number two, also Hashem doesn't punish a person for something that they didn't know that they were doing. In other words, Hashem created there's an advantage to this whole nature and nurture thing, or it's more important, the nurture thing. If a person is born in a certain place or family or education where they're not told or not taught about something, and it doesn't make a difference if they grew up religious or not religious, if they don't know about something, so they can't be punished for it. They didn't know. Understand? Not knowing is a defense.
They know, like they learn it, but they are not convinced.
No, so if you're told that you're not supposed to drive on Shabbos, but you drive on Shabbos even though you don't understand why, so then that's still, you were told. You don't have to understand the reason why. You have to know, you have to understand what you're not supposed to do, not why.
Yeah, but when you are young, you don't.
But if you're, so that's what I'm saying. Before 20 years old, you're still young. You don't really understand.
25, 26.
Right. The age of young is getting older. How much time do we have?
Wow.
Why didn't they tell you this about these things before, huh?
ממש, היו חוסכים לי ממש כאבי לב.
Why is that a meaningful age?
It's a certain it's like a certain coming of age. It's an adulthood. It's a level of adulthood. It's an age of adulthood.
What if it's the opposite?
Why is what?
Why is it a bar mitzvah not
So there's different stages. I mean, there are certain mitzvahs. So by and large, a person reaches a level of maturity where they can be responsible for themselves and to be responsible for mitzvahs. But a person doesn't get married at 13. That's also a mitzvah, right? There's practicalities involved here. There are certain things that you need to get older in order to be mature enough to do. Right? It says that there are certain things that a person shouldn't do before they're 30 or before they're 40. There are certain things that just fit with certain ages that don't fit when you're younger. So while in general a person can be considered responsible enough to take upon themselves the yoke of mitzvahs at the age of 12 or 13, that doesn't mean that they can do everything. there are certain things that are appropriate only at different ages.
What if the opposite, like let's say in your twenties and until the end of your twenties, you always be perfect, like never did any wrong thing, and then suddenly you switch to the opposite.
So your mitzvahs always come with you. Your merit always comes with you. The good things that you did always are always with you.
I'm
Forever.
saying like you switched the opposite. You never had really any sin and then you switch to the sin.
After 20.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so the mitzvahs that you did before, the good things that you did before come with you. And whatever you did after 20, you do, is on the books. It's recorded. Anyway, okay, so God willing, next week we will conclude the Ikrim class. Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Tshuva is a very, very powerful thing. If you do tshuva out of love. If you do tshuva out of fear, then no.
And how many
But if
times?
you do tshuva out of love, so then you can do tshuva every second. Every second. You do tshuva out of love, it says, which is what's something that's so amazing or powerful about tshuva. If a person is suffering from enormous debt, and they go to a debt court or whatever, and they're trying to settle their debt with their debtors, and the judge says, could you imagine the judge saying, you seem to be so regretful, so remorseful for the debt that you took on, that was responsible, and so on, and you look like that you really understand the mistake that you made, and you so much want to turn over a new leaf and change and be different and so on. So we're going to wipe out all of your debt. First of all, who ever heard of that? That's number one. And number two, not only that, but it seems over here from these papers that you have $100,000 in debt. So what we're going to do is that not only are we going to wipe out the $100,000 in debt, but we're going to deposit $100,000 into your bank account. You ever hear of something like that happening? No. Don't hold your breath. But that's what happens with tshuva. Tshuva, Hashem says that if you're truly remorseful and you're truly returning to Hashem out of love, so Hashem will take all of your averos and he'll turn them into mitzvahs and deposit it into your account. So tshuva is an unbelievably powerful, life-changing, world-changing thing.
You sin again and again, and then you do tshuva, and you sin again, and you do the tshuva.
So if that's your plan,
No, I'm not saying.
if that's what I'm not saying you, I'm saying if that's a person's plan, that's a person says, I'll do what I want today, and tomorrow I'll do tshuva. So then it doesn't work.
No,
So it's not real, it's fake.
No, I'm saying
It's not
that
genuine.
Really genuine that they did
Yeah.
tshuva, and they do it again.
So we say slach lanu, and we say tachnun in davening every single day, twice a day. In the morning, in the afternoon, for every little thing, there's an opportunity to do tshuva again. Huh? Yeah. And that's just where it's structured. You could do tshuva at any moment.
Thank you so much.
The heavens are always open.
Wow.
Africa, Belgium, Canada, France, France, French.